Morning, everybody. Welcome to IT Live. I'm Joe Cook. That's Justin Wells. I'm up in the mountains. You're up in East Texas. We got Cord Samuels. We got Evan Veith. We got Ian Boyd down in Tampa, Florida, covering SEC Media Days. Texas gets to the microphone. I got all the times written down. We're trying to go through 3 time zones here. Know where you need to go. If you want updates, you got to go to Inside Texas. So use that first link in our description. Use that QR code, bam, at the top left of the screen. Sign up for just $1 and get 50% off your first year. We are 2 weeks away from being in the thick of preseason camp. It's not fall camp. We're in the summer. It's August. And so you are going to want all the information related to preseason camp, not only what we get to see in our media viewing sessions, but also some behind-the-scenes intel. So come check us out at Inside Texas. Recruiting is not done. Always looking at the class of 2027 and the class of 2028. Lots of stuff still going on there. So make sure you come check it out. Justin, let's do the Cole Hudson thing real quick. Let's knock that out before we talk about Texas at Media Days. Sark, Goosby, Simmons, Manning, all going to be there. And, you know, I think I've mentioned on here before, my wife's a lawyer. I will go to the Travis County little court clerk, and usually in these types of things, it says, okay, the next step is this, next step is this. And there was no next step, but it sounds like, and we had some members chime in, say, this is a temporary injunction. I don't know how to feel about it, you know? And I don't care what people with cactus emojis have to say about it. There is a –
doesn't need to stand up and talk.
And a guy I respect that you like too, Shayon Jayaraja, he said, like, look, Sorsby broke rules. Hudson broke rules isn't the right thing because he definitely did not do that.
Right.
The rules changed on Hudson. The rules didn't change on Sorsby. Both are using the courts to try to get eligibility. And while obviously Cole Hudson coming back to Texas would be a positive thing if depending on his usage, it's not the best thing for the greater scope of the sport. I think it's fair to hold both those opinions.
Absolutely. First off, we got to get off these all rules are the same crap. And you and I, we understand that we have common sense. But like you said, the people with the cactus emojis, they're hurt from the Brendan Sorsby stuff, and so they want to fire back at things. And they know there's no comparison to these two stories. They understand that. It doesn't stop them from tweeting it and posting it on social media because what else are they going to do? They got to complain about something. They're not the same. Okay, we got that established. From a Texas football standpoint, I like it because it's depth and it's good depth on the offensive line, and that's great. And I think that's fantastic. I don't think you can have enough depth, especially on the interior offensive line at Texas. I don't think you can have enough. So I like it from that standpoint. But on the other hand, I'm with you. I don't like the direction. I don't like the direction. And I think that's why they put in rules to stop this stuff. I think that's why we've had rules implemented in this scenario to where we can stop those things from actually, going forward. And so that's going to be the biggest thing to me with Cole Hudson and with how we handle that kind of stuff. It's going to be moving forward. It's going to be, hey, they're still going to try to get in this window. You've set the parameters. You've set the rules. Now they're going to try to do the very best they can to lock in and get those guys. And so, listen, at the end of the day, I love that Texas is trying to add depth. Our boy Joe Cook is having some issues up in the mountains, and so I'll take the wheel for a while. I don't have a problem with it from a depth chart standpoint. And honestly, Cole Hudson's a great guy. I think it'd be great for the locker room. I think it'd be great for the depth chart. I'm all about that. But I'm with Joe too. I think we need to cut it at some point. And I think that's what the NCAA's whole point of doing that was. And so that was kind of my biggest thing. While Joe is hanging out, I'm going to go through some of these. We got David Keith Williams up here. I got one of these things that says, in your view of Colin Simmons' growth from the 2025 postseason to now, I think the lack of focus on the sack record, but instead focus on winning a championship is a very good sign of maturity. Always good to see you, David Keith Williams. Always got the refrigerator stocked with Big Red when you're ready to come see us at Inside Texas. It's funny. Colin Simmons' growth, I think his growth mature-wise has been as big as the physical on the field. I think Colin Simmons has become one of those guys that he understands. Colin gets a little bit better, a little bit stronger each year, but it's the off the field. It's that maturity. He's a leader. I don't know if you know that Arch Manning and Colin Simmons have dual groups working out. They're competing against each other in summer workouts. They're going at each other. And Colin wants that leadership. He wants to be that guy on that side of the defensive ball. And so I think I like where Colin's growth's gone, obviously from the field, but I like it off the field. Williams, David, I really do. I like it. I like it off the field. I think that's he's always had a big picture way of looking at things. And I think the older he's got, the more he understood, hey, that's why I did this. This is why my mom and Miss Monica is a wonderful person. And that's just a tremendous family. And so I love Colin Simmons. And no, I think it's the off the field stuff. I think he's just become an incredibly mature kid. He also understands he's going to be playing in the NFL next year. And so he knows that he's got that one more run left in him in Austin to take that over. So, I'm going to go over here to Blake Bryant. It's probably going to take a few years for it to work itself out, but the 5 for 5 should fix this issue. 100%, Blake. 100% should fix that issue. And that's what we've got that line now where there's still a few more guys that want to try to get one more year in. They're trying to squeeze that one more year in as much as possible. And I think that's kind of probably what we're going to see. But, Blake, this is why there is that rule. And right now you're seeing the outliers. You're seeing a little bit of each one of them kind of popping in. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's going – I think this is going to fix it, Blake. I think that's kind of what we're at. We're at that little window where there's still 1 or 2 years left or 1 or 2 guys left. I think Cole's trying to maximize that. So, hey, Sugar Poppy, look at this, my man, throwing up a nice little chunk of change chat. Here we go. Leadership-wise, who does Colin compare from the 2004 to 2000 era of Texas football? Oh, I've got that one. I've got that one for you. I get a very strong Brian Arakpo, and I'm sure Drew Kelson will chime in on that at some point. I'm telling you, Drew, listen, Brian Arakpo was a leader of a leader of a leader. That guy led by example, that guy led by fear, and that guy led by on the field and off the field play. I get that from Colin. I get a lot of that. Colin may not bring home the hardware that Arakpo did in his final season. I can't remember. It was ridiculous, the amount of jerseys and things, trophies and things that they picked up. But it's amazing that, coming at it, thinking about it, Brian Arakpo was a 3-star, essentially like a low-rated 4-star developmental type guy. Colin Simmons came in as the number 1 edge in the country. Colin Simmons came in with all this more, expectation. And so that's the similarity from on the field, off the field. Their mentality is the same. Colin will be your best friend, but at the same time, if you're not playing hard on defense, he's going to call you out. He's probably going to get in your face. And that was a lot of what Brian Arakpo used to do as well. And so at the same time, it was really cool. I think that's a good comp. I like that question, Sugar Poppy. I appreciate that a lot. So Chris talks about here. Let's start with yes, OU sucks, blah, blah, blah. Real quick. Yeah. I remember, let's see, Chris Bennett says, I remember Arakpo losing his helmet in the national championship game versus USC. Yeah, long time ago, Chris. I want to say that was his true freshman year. I want to say that was was that his true freshman year or maybe his redshirt freshman? I think that was his redshirt freshman or redshirt sophomore season. But all right, yes, OU sucks. With all the focus on quarterbacks this week, which SEC quarterback injury would be more damaging to a college football run this year? Oh, goodness gracious. That was an easy, that's a good one. Yes, OU sucks. I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with Ole Miss. If Trinidad Chambliss goes down, Ole Miss's ship is done. It is absolutely done. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because Trinidad is coming in with so much. He's coming in with coming off such a big year, but a lot of that was in the Lane Kiffin offense. So I'm curious how that's going to work with Pete. I'm sure it's just going to overlap and pick up. But you talk about a quarterback injury that would damage a college football run. Oh, Ole Miss, if they lose Trinidad Chambliss like that one's going to be really tough. So keep bringing me the questions. I'm doing it solo today. Joe Cook's hanging out in the mountains. Our producer's hanging out somewhere. So we're here. I'm here for all your fun times and questions. We'll go here. We got David Keith Williams. He's going to bring us a little bit more. Colin Simmons has the talent and ability to sack the quarterback on basically any pass play. I really hope Lance Jackson is productive on the strong side. They form a great duo in 2026. Somebody brought this up at InsideTexas.com, and David Keith Williams, someone drank your Big Red yesterday, so you missed the question. They said, could you compare, who would you take, Colin Simmons or Lance Jackson, comparative to Arakpo and Sergio Kindle? Well, I think right now that's a no-brainer. That's Sergio Kindle and Rack. They not only have the trophies, the hardware, they play national championships. Like they understand kind of the standard there. They're what Colin and Lance Jackson, they're what we want them to be in a sense. And so at the end of the day, I still think that's the standard. That's what Jackson and Colin are fighting for. But guess what, guys? Their best football is still ahead of them. We've seen what Rack and Kendall can do, so now we get to see what Simmons and Jackson. They got one more year together opposite of each other. Let's see how that turns out. Good stuff, David Williams.
All right, Justin, what are we talking about, man?
I don't know. Just kind of hanging out with the chat, doing my own thing.
Make you do a chat.
I was just going to go solo today.
Joe's
mountain climbing with in the mountains with some snow, and I think he's got a ski jump here in the next few minutes or something.
Yeah, he's his phone.
So
he texted me to come on, and his phone is saying satellite only.
Yeah. Well, he knew that going into it, so I'm a little surprised we didn't have something a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Thursday morning. He knew this an hour ago.
Thursday mornings when I schedule my appointments, those are the only mornings I got off. But Joe, I see you back there. Are you still worried? And he's still worried. All right, we won't bring
Joe's
you up
gone.
there. You look good.
Joe's gone, dude. Joe's gone.
No, he's in the background. I can see him.
No, he is skiing. You're watching. He's got one of those things that floats up at the bottom. That's bullshit. Joe is. If you take away the green screen behind Joe, it's a bunch of snow. We ain't fooling nobody, man.
Oh man,
Ollie on skis.
I can stay on and hang out if you drop out again, Joe. I'll stay on. Shit, what are we talking about?
You cannot. No, one of y'all is going to stay here because Joe is skiing.
I'm not skiing. I'm freaking out because Xfinity's like, hey, why is you know what? Today's the day to upgrade your internet and knock it out 5 times.
Yep.
So sorry.
So what are we chatting about, fellas? What's going on?
What did I miss in those 10 minutes where my heart rate?
I have no idea. I don't even know what we talked about.
We
were
you
could ask David Williams, and we got a what's the super chats? We got a super chat from Sweet and Low Poppy. So I had to throw something at him. I have no idea what I was saying. I drove the train, but I don't know where I was driving. I'm going blind.
Oh man. Well, did you hit the super chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It was basically a comparative defensive leader, comparative to 2004 to 2009. Where would I see Colin Simmons? I thought Brian Arakpo on and off the field, kind of that alpha male kind of mentality. And so, yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff. The chat helped me a ton. We got some great viewers here at Inside Texas.
This is a good one. Texas is today, so that's why we're talking about them. We got Evan and Cord and Ian there. I guess we can finish up with the Hudson thing. I'm sure you said your piece on it. Want to talk about what to expect from the 4 Texas sent to media days?
Is that for me or Connor?
For both of y'all.
Oh, I mean, what's one question we could ask each guy?
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this earlier this week with Cord. I'm curious what it's like for. It's fair to say that Colin and Goosby are both confident, but they have very different personalities.
Mhm.
I wonder what it's like for them when they go against each other. Because, I don't want to do the whole iron sharpens iron cliche too much, but like those are two of the best players in the sport. And those are two guys that have very obvious pro first round aspirations. Colin, you're going to get confident answers from. Gooseby, you're going to get cordial answers from. But I do really wonder what it's like for those guys to have to go up against each other literally every single day.
I don't know how much they actually go against each other.
I mean, for as much
No.
ones
I'm not
versus
saying every day.
ones.
I'm not saying in the summer. I'm saying actually in 2 days, and I mean we still call them 2 days. I'm not going to call it fall camp because Joe will go back on the slopes. But like I think it's it's iffy. It's iffy. I don't think they go against each other that much, to be totally honest. Which you would think that, like you said, good on good, but you don't want too good on too good. Last time Texas had good on good, Cedric Baxter tried to run inside on Anthony Hill, and it changed everyone's life. So they're a little leery when it comes to great on great. Just a heads up.
That makes sense. What about, I think something that we miss on is like we're Texas-based media. We are very much, around this team a lot, around all these different guys a lot. There's going to be a lot of, non-Texas people there, obviously. This is LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas Day. LSU is going to be big just because Lane talked about, I put it on Twitter, there was John Daly shaking hands with Nick Saban right after LSU head coach Lane Kiffin talked about his dad and Hulk Hogan. Like that's a Mad Lib if I ever heard of one.
That's SEC media days.
Yeah. And so I wonder, what type of questions they might get from maybe some of the non-Texas people. And I feel like a lot of it's going to be expectation based because, I don't want to say we're guilty of it because I don't think it's an indictment, but we use the term all in a lot throughout the course of the portal and the off season.
Yeah.
And you don't go all in just to, make it to the second round, to the quarterfinals again.
No, that's it. And all in is the mentality. This is a different group, man. I'm telling you. The coolest part about this team this offseason and these three guys, they all understand the job.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in that facility the last few years, there was a strong expectation. There was an enthusiasm. There was, because it was building. They were going through back-to-back playoffs. Now you walk in that facility, it's straight business. They know, hey, we've got to a certain point. We've got to get past that. But I think it's fun to think of like unique questions for each guy. Like for me personally, we've talked to Arch Manning 400 times, literally. Okay, it's on and off the record. My question for Arch would be, do you drink Red Bull? Like I don't drink energy drinks. But I want to, but he's promoting it. So do you drink energy? I wouldn't think Arch is an energy drink guy. I think he's a smoothie with raw eggs in the morning, running in a boxing hoodie type deal. I don't think he's a Red Bull guy, but he represents him. And so I'd be curious if he's an energy drink guy. Trevor Goosby, do you still play basketball with Austin? And when's the last time you beat Austin? Because I bet it's been a while. Because you got two brothers that are 5 stars that are essentially playing at the same school. That would be a fun question for Trevor. And then for Colin, I'd be a little – I don't know what I would bring for Colin Simmons. He used to have this really spooky, scary mask he would wear in the locker room in Duncanville High School. It was very, very scary. Something you'd see in a really daunted, haunted house because he's got that crazy side to him. I'd want to know, does he still have that mask and does he still wear it around the house? because it's kind of weird. That's the fun thing about media days. These kids get that same questions over and over, Joe. How are you working hard? What are you looking for this season? Are the expectations win it all? But the truth is, ask them some stuff to loosen it up. Ask them some stuff to have some fun and some back and forth. Media days is not meant to be super serious. It's meant to be fun and engaging and content building. And I think we could have some fun with these three guys. I think they're going to have fun today. Listen, John Bianco trains those guys very well. Arch Manning came out the womb knowing how to interview. And so I think that's going to be fun to see those guys. I love Trevor Goosby there. Doesn't talk much. Trevor doesn't say much, guys. Like, he is a quiet cat. He will beat you down and then lift you up and pray for you. I'm curious to see what Trevor and those guys have to say. And I'm curious if the Cole Hudson question is going to come to Steve Sarkisian. I want to see how open he's going to be about that.
Yeah, I think that question's definitely going to get to Sark. And it's one of those things where, you know, the only party in the lawsuit was Cole Hudson. So, and the fact that there was he says in the complaint, like, there's a roster spot available for him. You know, I think,
is that a justification?
Very, very
in your
interesting.
mind?
And I'm curious, maybe if some Ole Miss people who stuck around, or I mean, since Mississippi State is there, there's probably going to be some Mississippi media still there, asking about the basket weaving thing. Pete Golding had some interesting things to say about Texas yesterday. Elko had some interesting things to say about Texas yesterday.
How great did Elko look?
He looked good. And like,
I like listening to Mike Elko talk. Guy can coach football.
I agree. And, you know, I think he is someone who Texas fans, I think, for the whatever he may look like, the guy knows ball. And that's something that I think is very, very important for the Aggies, because just a focus on ball instead of a focus on Aggies is very important if that program ever wants to go anywhere. Before we keep going, let's show some love to a sponsor. That is Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results: Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
Joe, you know what I miss?
What's that?
Wrongful deaths.
Wrongful deaths.
I miss that, man.
Well, who's going to sue for rightful deaths? Who knows about that? Williams David.
Never mind.
Hey, this is a good question. Even though Cade Phillips isn't there, this is a big question, because it seems, and if you go check out Inside Texas right now, Eric Naline just posted the likely defensive depth chart. We'll probably go over that in a video maybe tomorrow. But Cade Phillips is one of the likely starting cornerbacks. So our guy Williams David says there's various views of Cade Phillips' emergence in 2026. I really think if Phillips develops into a shutdown cornerback, he could be the one player that could make the Texas defense historic. What are your views of Cade Phillips' importance to this year's defense?
I don't think it's understated how valuable it is. He's going to be relied on this year. Like, he's going to be a guy they have to have this year. I think Bo Mascow is probably going to be pound for pound the best cover corner, at least most of the season, because Cade's obviously younger. But Cade Phillips is the one that's twitchy and just downright nasty. He's meant to play on that island, and he's gotten bigger and stronger. And you got a kid like Smoke Matthews that is pushing behind him. So Cade can't let up, because there's guys nipping at his heels to take those spots. And so everyone wants to be the next Malik Muhammad or the next Jahdae Barron. Well, who's going to be that in that room? You know, if you would have asked me this 6 months ago, I'd have started floating out the name Kobe Black. But we know where, he's made a move. He's over at safety. You know what that told the team? They told the team, 1, we need to get Kobe Black on the field. 2, we need depth at safety. 3, we really like Cade Phillips. And so I love this Cade Phillips talk because this is a Mark Warface special. This is a guy that they really, really liked. That you remember they had to flip. They were in great spot. Wind up going to LSU. Had to wind up flipping later down the line. Cade Phillips. I don't know about historic David Williams. We're getting a little broad on that. But this is he's definitely going to be a guy that's he's going to be relied upon unlike any other time in his athletic career.
You know, you mentioned Malik Muhammad, and at least through year one, the story's kind of similar. You know, why did Malik Muhammad have to play in 2023? It was because Ryan Watts, who, if it weren't for injury, would probably still be on an NFL training camp bouncing around. Like, an NFL player got hurt. And I don't think Jalen Gilbo got hurt, but Jalen Gilbo was Jalen Gilbo, and the talented freshman was given the opportunity to take some of those snaps down the stretch, and he took advantage of them. Malik Muhammad took a starting spot in his second year. Now Cade Phillips looks like he's starting to get a starting spot this year. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to track. I think we may be underrating Bo Masco still.
Yes.
And Ian, who is in Tampa, he's talked about, look, this team has a lot of corner depth. And you've got, I mean, look at the names you're listing, Williams David, Bo Masco, Grayson Littleton, Cade Phillips, and then, you know, you mentioned Samari Matthews, guys like, you know, Wardell Mack and even special teams penalty himself, Warren Roberson.
Roberson.
That's how I know it. Those guys are factoring in at corner. And safety was a little bit of the question. You know, you knew Jelani McDonald. You know what you have in Derek Williams. You don't know what you have in Jonah and Jordan Johnson-Rubel, at least as far as on-field production.
I think you know what you have in JJR. Jonah is the biggest question mark.
Rarely came off the field. And I think do I still have you? Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. I see you bug out, and I'm
never going to let you down.
I see you bug out, and I start panicking again.
You're the one bugging out. I'm over here listening to Cade Phillips talk.
I know, but I think, and you know, I'm curious what Steve Sarkisian has to say, because he's going to highlight all those guys: Phillips, Masco, Littleton. Littleton's going to be a leader on this defense. You know, all the different players that they have playing corner. It's going to be very interesting to see how the pieces of the puzzle all fit together. This one we can kind of go into the roster. Is anyone wearing 7 on defense this year? Doesn't look like it. I know
it has to be handed down like Excalibur's sword. You don't just go in the room and pick number 7. Michael Huff has to have there's a ceremony, and there's a voting process, and no one's going to wear number 7 this year.
I think
on defense. I don't know about offense.
Khalil Lockett still has it.
Okay, I knew that. I knew he had I knew Khalil did. But on defense, we're not going to see 7.
Any other roster notes that you saw that was interesting, whether it be heights, weights, things like that, from the updated roster yesterday?
A lot of 6'7" guys, 6'6", 6'7" guys in this program. I know there's always a handful of those, but I just don't remember as many at once. A lot of big size there,
and they're in the tight end room. That's the other thing. It's Masunis. It's Spencer Shannon.
Yeah,
it's the offensive. It's the tackles. It's the C and D gap players. You know, Goosby and Siani. Like that is pivotal. And I'm writing something about this right now for a team that's probably going to do a lot of stretch and wide zone. Like guys with that type of length to make those reach blocks, whether you're at tight end or tackle, that's going to be very important for this offense. Because Raleek Brown was on 3rd and Longhorn, and he talked like, yeah, I had a relationship with Sark. Yeah, you know, I know their offense, but like the running styles that Sark loves, that outside zone stuff. I think our guy Buddy calls it the Mick Shanahan offense. Raleek Brown did that, and Hollywood Smothers did that. And you have the type of tackles and tight ends to help make that even more achievable this year.
You do, and I'm curious about that, because We haven't talked about the run game as much. Malik Brown
Right.
and Hollywood Smothers, they're not question marks, but the running direction is kind of a question mark. You've revamped basically the entire room, so there's going to be some changes and things of that sort. I was on the air with our boy, one of my best friends, Trey Elling, last week from ESPN Austin. He asked me a really good question, and I'm going to give it to you. I know what my answer was. My answer was the best, but you can. I'm going to give you a shot at it. 3 guys are here: Manning, Simmons, and Goosby. If Texas could add one more guy, who would it be and why?
I think Hiro Kanu would be my pick because look, all these guys, and as you mentioned, Texas media relations, make sure these guys know that they're good with media.
Yeah.
Kanu's good with media, but not all his answers are packaged. And I think that's some, like, he's not afraid to go a little bit off script and talk about what he wants to. And it's never in a way detrimental to the team, but it's in a way that's just very, very, honest. And he's just someone who's very confident in his abilities and himself and in his team. So I would say Hiro Kanu. I'm curious, who did you pick?
I was going to give you a chance to guess. And I'll give you a help.
Is it Lance?
It's not East Texas based.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, wow.
No, I know that'd be your default, but there's one guy you're missing.
Oh, it's a wide receiver. Now, which one is it?
No, man. Jelani McDonald.
Yeah.
Listen to me. There are people in this world that are just good souls that have golden hearts. Trevor Goosby is one of those guys. Jelani McDonald is one of those guys. Jelani will give you the most positive, enthusiastic. You could ask him about war and politics and like what's going on with taxes. He's going to give you a positive, enthusiastic. He's got the biggest smile in the program. There's something about him that's just very charismatic. And I love Jelani. And I'm partial. Saw the kid for 3 years in high school, 4 different sports, but Jelani's the guy I wanted to see up there just because I know, and he's another one. He'll give you a little depth in answers and he'll have fun with it. And if you try to flip him on a question that's a negative or something like that, he will shut it down and make it positive. And so my guy was Jelani McDonald. That too, because I'm partial, I think it would have been a great opportunity. I think he's going to be the first safety off the board in the NFL draft in 2027. I think he's going to have a fantastic season. If someone were to wear number 7 this year, I think you could give it to Jelani. He likes the number 4. Let him roll. That's the guy I would pick, my boy Jelani, man. There's just not a happier to be there, more grateful to be in this opportunity type kid than Jelani McDonald.
Going to McDonald's on like 35 and 51st Street a couple of weeks ago to see him.
You saw that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you can do, oh yeah, my name's McDonald. And okay, I'm going to, do this one. He was having fun, man. He was in the drive-through window. He was taking pictures with Grimace, and a couple other of the McDonald's universe characters. So he'd be one I think is a good idea to
Do you
bring.
notice with Kobe? He pulls Kobe kind of out of his shell. Kobe's a more quiet guy. Kobe's fun as hell, but Kobe's kind of a more quiet guy. He doesn't get too much into it. Jelani extracts that from Kobe. Those two together are so much fun. And that's why it was fun covering them together in high school at Waco Conley. They played ball together. And so they got a natural kind of rapport. But I love that about Jelani. He will pull out the fun out of Kobe.
Uh-oh, you got me. There we go. And then
I'm here with you.
It's touch and go down here. I do have a question for one of the guys that is going to be there.
Okay.
And you and I have known Colin Simmons and that family for almost 5 years now. Not only what he does on the field, what he did on the field at Duncanville, but what he's done for his mother, what he's done for his brother, what he's done for his family. He speaks with an air of confidence that I think I don't think it's rare, but it can almost border, if you're not used to it, and if you don't, maybe you're for some reason skeptical about his football ability, it can border on arrogance.
Yes.
And hey, maybe there is a little bit of arrogance because a certain type of person takes the Ohio State starting quarterback announcement and puts it on his story and says like, okay, coming after you. And but do you think, like, what are you expecting from Colin here at SEC Media Days? Do you think he might say something that is headline grabbing and maybe a way Texas doesn't want it to be?
It depends on how they set these questions up for him. If you've got media from other programs, others covering other schools, you're going to see him like the Texas media has been kind of throwing out some chum to some of these other players from other schools just to see kind of what they would say about Texas. You're going to see those same guys from other markets do the same with Colin Simmons. Colin's probably not going to take that bait, though. Colin is confident. There's a fine line between arrogant and confident. I think Colin's just an alpha male. I think that's just kind of how he exudes. Listen, and in some senses, he's always been that way. But in others, we saw his growth. I remember as a sophomore playing basketball at Duncanville. Like, he was a confident guy, but he not that confident. And each year he grew and grew and grew and grew. And so I think Colin says things with finality. I think Colin says, you want an answer? Here's my answer. Da-da-da-da-da. Boom. Who's next? He doesn't elaborate. He has no time to BS. He doesn't want to. Now, you bring up subjects like his family, his brother, his charities, things he does off the field. His smile will turn straight up, and he'll start unloading the good stuff. But you start talking about the game, you start talking about players and competition, he's going to tell you what he thinks. And you know what? That's why I compared him to Brian Arakpo from the 04 to 09 group, because Arakpo was the same exact way. Arakpo didn't do it necessarily in an arrogant way. He just did it in a very forceful, dominant way. And there was no one around that was going to question him. Every team needs that. Every program needs that. Texas has a couple of them. Colin's one of those.
And I'm not at all trying to demean here at all, but it takes a certain type of confidence to run a cupcake store when your professional football career is done, like Brian Arakpo did. Like, oh, you run a cupcake? Yeah, I'm running cupcakes because it's good business and they're good.
And I listen, Arakpo had a secret for a frosting that was just out of the world. So tip your cap, Rack.
It takes a certain type of confidence to be that vulnerable with your brother and your family out in front of everybody like this. So I think
you're putting them on the same platform,
right.
and you have to kind of protect that at the same time. And Colin's the man of the family, Joe. Mm-hmm. Colin's the man of that house, and he has been for a long time. And he's taking that on. That's why he's kind of got that father figure. I think that's helped his maturity, to be honest with you.
Goosby, a similar thing. I bet he's going to get some of the what's it like, with your brother being here. And that's going to be a really cool storyline too to follow. Goosby,
he won't say anything controversial, Joe.
I know, and
not happening.
And I really think that Goosby's on his way to a great season. I'm kind of curious what Goosby thinks about the start of his career. Remember when he steps in for Kelvin Banks at Texas A&M, plays really well. Steps in for Cam Williams, steps in for Cam Williams again. Like, I'm wondering what he thinks that did to jumpstart his career. And, you never want to see him go down at all. You don't want to see anybody go down at all. I wonder how much of a blessing in disguise he thinks that has helped him get to this point in his career.
He would tell you that it was instrumental. And not just the play on the field, but his confidence that he can do it on the field. Because you remember they had to carry that over. Remember, he had to pop into the Ohio State game as well.
Yeah,
that game at A&M gave him so much confidence. That, to me, he'd probably tell you there's not a singular moment in his college career that was more important. Because you go from a low 3-star. I think he wound up finishing as a high 3, maybe a low 4 when the rankings were finally done, but he was never regarded as like a top-end guy. Kyle Flood saw something no one else did. They developed him into a lottery, he's going to be a lottery pick in 2027. He's going to be the first or second tackle taken off the board. Either be him or Jordan Seaton in his apparently 20 dozen purses I didn't know Jordan Seaton collected purses. I'm glad the left tackle at Texas doesn't collect purses. I think that's a good thing. But no, Goosby stories is going to be fantastic from his heart, from, having heart surgery as a kid, from just all the stuff that he had to do. Look, they thought he was going to be a basketball player. Kid was 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". They thought he was going to hoop. Well, baby brother did that. Trevor wound up growing into a monster. They have the absolute best family you can possibly imagine. And I think those boys are playing for something a little bit bigger than just Texas this season.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what he thinks of also some of the new guys, like he and Connor Robertson.
He will give you incredible insight. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to know about that offensive line room, start firing off, because Trevor knows.
I guess, what's the most revelatory thing you think we'll get from Arch Manning? Yeah, I know. Not a lot.
He's not. It's not in his programming to give you revelatory answers.
I want to hear his.
You get 8 words, no elaboration. Next question.
I feel like if you ask him about his celebrity, which does exist,
he doesn't want to talk about that,
man. That. But I feel like also if you get too intricate, he's like, he'll protect the team. But I do wonder, like, hey, how much did not having a running game affect you last year in being the running game?
He's not gonna say they didn't have a running game. He's not gonna say that. He's gonna say we things we needed to work on this offseason. I had to use my legs. We had to use some of the other guys. We had to use some young guys. We got a new group coming in. It's gonna be a different thing. Like he'll spin that in about 10 words. He's a pro, man. He's a pro. So I don't see anything revelatory coming out of Arch. I would like that to be the case, but it is what it is. I'd like for him to just go in. I want Arch to go into it like it's a spring game. Okay? I want him to go into it like spring. Just come out of this interview. Just come out of this media days not hurt. Come out of this media days not injured. Make sure the bunions are taken care of. Making sure he's got his stretches. Making sure he's ready to rock and roll with his Viore. Got to look good, His Warby Parker, nerd out on us. Forget the contacts, Archibald. Let's see the glasses. I want to see the nerd.
I think I'm about to run out of internet, so I'm going to tell you.
And I think we've killed it on this show. If you look at all the ratings and reviews, this is one of the greatest shows in the history of YouTube. So I think there's nothing else we can top.
I appreciate you bearing with me, and Connor, you bearing with me. Bear with us over at Inside Texas. First link in the description, QR code in the top left of the screen. We'll be talking media days all day over there and have plenty of reaction to what Sark and others say today. So we made it through, Justin. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on IT Live on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel.